Hey guys, Brain Lynette here. This is Faith and Fire, God and Country, and today, let's just call it what it is. No softening stuff. No, well, maybe. No. To be fair, I don't play the to be fair game on this show. I might do it in real life. I might do it giving people a little bit of grace in the space. But tonight, we're going to call it what it is, and then we're going to talk about what you're actually going to do about it. Because I am tired of people, including myself sometimes, consuming information and then just sitting on it, marinating in outrage like it's a hobby. We get pissed off and then we're going to move. We're going to take action. So that ends today. Y'all know that my podcast, Faith and Fire, God and Country, is brought to you by two of my favorite things. Okay. We're going to bring in the liberty and freedom. No exception. No exception. This is something like I love this. And this is the thing. I told you guys my husband wears this every day. He has debilitating back pain. He has ASL. Is it ASL? ALS? What the fuck is it? He has some kind of whatever with his spine. Um, and I say that he wears these every day, but he really doesn't have to anymore. Like he wears them when needed. And I just want you guys to see the power in that healing because he's had this back problem for like as long as I've known him, which is like 83 years. Okay. He's always had back problems. And so I just want you to see that there's power in healing. And this is if your body is fighting you with pain, inflammation, maybe you have brain fog, just go to my link, BrandonLynetteSuperPatch.com. These are frequency patches, no drugs. F Big Pharma. Okay, we're not about it. We're not about the prescriptions and the medications. We're done with that. There's no weird stuff in this. It is literally just like braille for your brain. That's the easiest term I can use to explain it before I go all neuro nerd on you. Okay, this isn't the podcast where I talk about all the brain stuff. That's Listen Bitch. In case you guys need to know, Listen Bitch podcast. You guys, listen, okay, so I'm at 582 episodes in Listen Bitch, right? 582 episodes. We are killing it over there. But today was episode 50 for the Rebellion season. So I just want to thank everybody who has supported me from that. I know a lot of you tune in here from that podcast. In fact, all of you guys follow me everywhere, and just thank you. I wouldn't have any of the three shows I have if it wasn't for you. But that's it. 500 altogether, 700 plus episodes of me refusing to be quiet. So please go find the shows, subscribe. Thank you for all of that. And y'all don't get a trigger warning here, okay? There's something that happened this week that every single person listening to the show needs to know. James O'Keefe released a video. A man named, is my phone on Do Not Disturb? A man named Benjamin Elliston, senior budget analysis and funding manager from the White House, was caught on camera saying this out loud with face visible on video. It is not AI. Okay. And this is the part where the social media videos I'm doing live right now, as soon as I say I have an actual quote from someone, they throw up the red flags. They say I'm giving false information, but I will just tell you guys. I have the tea on this. I have the tea on this. Um he literally said, and I quote. So here comes the Facebook jail, the TikTok jail, all the jails. I'm ready for it. Quote. Okay? He said, in the White House, this guy's in the White House. We have to get rid of Trump. He's invincible. Nothing can stop him, and that's dangerous. And then, quote, he's fucking it up for everybody. Everybody. That was a quote. I didn't elaborate. I didn't embellish. I didn't make it my own. That was the quote. That was the quote. A senior budget analyst in the White House on camera voluntarily. This is not a leaked document. This is not an anonymous source. This is a man who works inside the White House telling you to your face that he believes the democratically elected president of the United States needs to be gotten rid of. You know where I didn't find this? Anywhere on mainstream media. I did not find this on mainstream media. This, babe, this is the deep state, not in theory, not as a concept, as a man with a badge on video, working inside the building where the president works, actively stating his intention to undermine the outcome of an election that he personally didn't like. And you know what I love about this? You know what I love about what the president is doing? He is messing it up for everybody. Their slush funds, their the tax money they take from us, and they funnel it and shovel it around to each other. It's everybody. It is both sides. I'm not even partisan. I'm not even going to be partisan about this, okay? It is all of them. All of these career politicians are getting exposed. Everybody who built their power, their career, their entire identity on a system that was never designed to serve you. It was never designed to serve we the people. And Trump is messing that up. Good. I say burn it down. Burn it all the way down. Romans 13:1 says governing authorities established by God, and the people who cannot accept that this man was elected twice, the truth is a third time, and that the American people, chose disruption over management, chose chaos over polished lies. Those people are not submitting to governing authority. They are actively working against it from the inside, and they're doing it in your name with your tax dollars in your house. This is it. Some truth is coming back to where the money really belongs, and that's back in the pockets of the American people. Now, the CIA and the JFK files. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but this story is real. But I will say, and I'm going to call both sides out again, it is being misrepresented. And I'll tell you both things. So what we do know that is confirmed is that the CIA seized approximately 40 boxes of classified documents from the office of the Director of National Intelligence. That's Tulsi Gabbard's office. Documents that were in the process of being declassified. These were JFK assassination files, the MK Ultra files, baby. You know the MK Ultra program, the CIA's documented mind control program that used American citizens, including children, to test subjects without their knowledge or consent. Those files, the ones of MK Ultra that was supposedly absolved, dissolved, exists no more bullshit. They're still using this stuff on us. They are still using this on the people at a grand level. Anyway, it's in the middle of being processed for public release. All ready for public release. And it was seized. Anna Paulina Luna, I like her. She reported this on News Nation. That part is true. But this is where I'm going to call something out. And that's what happens. It's not red or blue. It's all of them. I said I would call BS whenever I see it, and I meant it. Within hours, large accounts, okay, your media influencers, your politicians, your representatives, were reporting that Luna said the CIA raided Tulsi Gabbard's office. Luna herself posted the correction. She said, I am noticing a few large accounts stating falsely that I claim there was a raid on the office by the CIA. It's completely false. Like, they're rage baiting people. Both sides. Rage bait, rage bait, rage bait. How can we keep you pissed off and oblivious to the truth of what's going on? There is no clip or statement that exists. Why is there an orchestrated push for this narrative? That's my question. Why? Not one account can post a clip. And this is why this matters, because the real story that the CIA seized 40 boxes of JFK and MK Ultra files that were in the process of being declassified, that story is alarming enough, right? So we have the truth, and then there's the look over here, look over here. It's damning. It raises legitimate questions. You don't need to embellish that. Hey, girlies, put the dogs outside. Welcome to the podcast. I did not mean to yell in your ear, okay? When I can hear the dogs coming through my microphone, I know that they're wild and they need to just go take a breather. But when you embellish the story, like, you're handing the people who want to discredit the story exactly the tool they need. You're going to point to the exaggeration, call the whole thing debunked, and then the real story drowns so everybody doesn't talk about it. This is why I said in the show, test every spirit. Even the ones wearing your team's jersey, whatever that looks like for you, whoever you're rooting for, test every spirit. Even the accounts with the really big followings that you think are on your side, You think you agree, but do you? Because they're getting paid for their views. They're getting paid to sway, and they get paid for that emotional outrage. They get paid for the clicks and the likes and the comments and the arguments. Like, we are useful idiots. Be the person who reads the actual correction from the actual congresswoman before you share the post. Like, it's crazy. I deleted Facebook off my phone. It's gone. Deleted it. Gone. Boom. I don't have it. I check it through Messenger because I do have a podcast group that is active there. But I'm done because I watch my friends sharing stuff that is not fact checked. And I'm like, this isn't even true. It's not even true. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing that nobody is willing to just go do some research. We trust someone because they have 80,000 followers, 800,000 followers. Really? We trust someone because they have a little blue check mark and they say they work for the state. Really? No. No. The CIA seized documents that were supposed to become public. Documents about the assassination of an American president, documents about a government program that experimented on American citizens without their knowledge. And these are the same people that have protected the Epstein files for 20 years. Has it been 20 years? Isn't that what I said? Like 23 years they've had these files. But all of a sudden, right now, it's one person's job to put them in the hands of people when we have people like three-letter agencies and people. You don't understand the president's process. He doesn't have the power to just walk in anywhere. That he needs that support. He's like the least powerful person right now. Congress protects Congress. The three-letter agencies are going to protect themselves. These guys, the same guys that have had these files, that know in our country the people who are hurting our babies and eating our babies and torturing kids. I mean, the stuff is still happening. You think all of this stopped? You think someone gets caught and they stop? Why don't you Google the research of repeat offenders in prison? Do that. You think because he went to prison one time, he's not going to come out and slap your mama? Are you kidding me? Look for repeat offenders. It's very few and far between that evil stops at one person. So, do I think they're still doing this to our kids? Yes, absolutely, of course. But this, you guys, the question that I want to say with here, and the question that no one in the media is asking, is who ordered this? Under whose authority does the CIA walk into the the office and remove documents that the director of national intelligence was processing for public release? Who gave that order? I have looked everywhere. I cannot trace that. I cannot find that information. So I'm asking, help me do the research. I need some little internet sleuths. Who gave that order? And what are they trying to hide? We know the truth. We know who killed JFK. Are they just covering up their own mess? We know MK Ultra is still alive and rocking, right? The same way we know that maybe Epstein's island is shut down, but there's another one that popped right up in its place. What are they keeping you from seeing? Proverbs, evil men do not understand justice, but those who seek the Lord understand it fully. I'm saying seek it. Seek the truth. Seek it and keep seeking, and don't let the exaggerated version distract you from the real question underneath. Speaking of demons, did I mention the devil here? Klaus Schwab, founder of the WEF, World Economic Forum, okay? The man who wrote the book called The Great Reset. This is a direct quote that is circulating this week. And if I'm not in jail on any social media account I'm live on right now, this will probably get me banned if the first one didn't. These are his words, okay? These are his words. And I found this in several places. This is what he said. You have to get used to it. You have to behave accordingly. If you have nothing to hide, you shouldn't be afraid. Everything is going to be transparent. Everything is going to be transparent. If you have nothing to hide, you shouldn't be afraid. First of all, someone tell the deep state that, because they're scrambling, right? If they have nothing to hide, then why are they panicking and why are they hiding? Blah. Let me tell you why that sentence, though, is one of the most dangerous things a powerful man has ever said in public. Because this is the premise, that privacy is only needed by people with something to hide. It has been used to justify every surveillance state in the history of the world. The Soviet Union used it, Nazi Germany used it. Every authoritarian government that has ever existed has used the logic. If you're innocent, you have nothing to fear. And that's how they strip the people of the most basic protection of a free society, the right to exist without being watched. How did this get flipped? The government should know nothing about us and we should know everything about the government. But we're so dumb and we're so distracted, dumb and distracted. We're fat, we're happy, we're comfortable. Nobody is paying attention. We have let our power go. And now the government watches us, monitors us. How is your credit score, darling? Right? They monitor us and hide everything from us. All these files classified, every move they make classified. It's not our business. It is very upside down. It's very backwards. You guys, privacy is not guilt. Privacy is dignity. Privacy is the space between you and the government where your thoughts, your conversations, your worship, your disagreements, your private life can exist without being cataloged and evaluated by people who have decided that they get to judge what you're allowed to do. And I easily connected this to something I talked about in a previous episode. The age verification bills, right? The digital identity infrastructure, we just talked about that. That's being built at the state and federal level right now. That's the architecture. This is the building, and Klaus Schwab just told you who the architect is and what he thinks of your right to privacy. He said, everything is going to be transparent for you. Let's make that clear. Not for the people in the World Economic Forum, okay? That, again, this administration has crumpled, okay? Not for the CIA removing boxes of documents. They get their privacy. It's not for the elite networks whose members have never been fully named, right? It's only transparent for you. They're protected. They're behind the black curtain. And there's another image that I saw circulating alongside his quote, and I feel like it matters. You know, there's a graphic of the organizations whose leaders are not elected. Okay. I'll try to paint the picture for y'all since I can't show you the picture. Not one of them puts their name on a ballot. Not one of them goes through a democratic process. These are what are listed on this graphic: Freemasonry, the Jesuit Order, the Vatican, Black Nobility, United Nations, the Rothschilds, NATO, the Council on Foreign Relations, the International Monetary Fund, the World Economic Forum. Now, I'll tell you that this graphic is the definitive map of who runs the world. That's it. Ask the questions. This is verifiable. It's verifiable that the World Economic Forum has a documented agenda called the Great Reset, published by Schwab himself, which calls for a stakeholder capitalism model where unelected global entities determine economic policy. It is verifiable that the IMF and the World Bank have imposed policy conditions on sovereign nations as conditions for receiving loans. Conditions that nations' own voters never approved, never had a say. It's verifiable that NATO makes decisions about military commitments that bind nations without the nation's populations voting on these commitments. Verifiable that the Council on Foreign Relations has included in its membership virtually every Secretary of State, CIA director, and senior policy official in the United States government for the past 80 years. These are not shadow organizations in a basement somewhere. They are fully visible, fully documented institutions that operate at the level of global policy with essentially no democratic accountability to the people whose lives they affect. In fact, no accountability goes far beyond just those words. There is no accountability for what they do. Ephesians 6:12, for we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over the present darkness. The rulers, the authorities, the ones who do not get elected. God named this, not the internet, y'all. God named it thousands of years before any of these organizations even existed. And he told you the battle was real. and China's already inside. I don't mean at the border, babe. I mean inside. So I've told you guys before. Um, I've had interviews with military people, and a lot of them, it's the constant of like, we don't need to be afraid of Russia or whatever other country, that our biggest threat is China, and people still agree to that. That the real whisper inside military conversations is that the war with China is what we need to be worried about. There will be wars. There will be rumors of wars. We know that's a fact. We know that's truth. China's on the inside. Eileen Wang, Democrat mayor of Arcadia, California. She has pleaded guilty to acting as a foreign agent on behalf of the People's Republic of China. A sitting American mayor pled guilty to working for China. And this is only one person who got caught. Just sit with that. Only one person who got caught. You guys know what they say, like if you find a mouse in your house, what that probably means? We got some mice in the States. I just want to be clear of that. I've said it before. And two separate people that I spoke to this week, even just we chatted about it off camera for a second, that no matter what you see on the surface, China is the long game. So while we're distracted, we're watching Iran, we're debating tariffs, we're going to follow the headline of the day. What's the rage bait of the day? China's methodically placing assets, cultivating relationships, and positioning for the next 50 years. They are not reactive. They are patient. They are playing chess while we are doom scrolling. And we're pissed about, what celebrity we back up and what tea's being spilt on them. Like, we are just, I'm so embarrassed for our country sometimes. I'm so embarrassed for our country sometimes. And this is why the Trump Beijing summit does matter. This is why the CIA AI Cold War matters. This is why Eileen Wong being a Chinese foreign agent in a California city hall matters. The infiltration is not theoretical, it's documented. It is guilty pleas. And this is the crazy part, is that it's not just her, it is the deep state as well. Local judges on a local level, representatives at a local level being bought and paid for by people like Klaus Schwab and all of his little homie gangs, all these little places that were not documented, that were not voted in, that have gone against the democracy and still control the people. It's beyond to me. But yeah, let's argue about, what celebrity tea is happening right now and which housewife would win a battle. I don't even know what the heck you guys are talking about these days, because I deleted Facebook. I love saying that out loud because it's so freeing. Nehemiah says, but we prayed to our God and set a guard as a protection against them day and night. So that's the thing. Pray and watch. This all isn't new. Pray and watch, both, always. Always both. And we're going to ask questions. And we're going to find the truth. We're not just going to believe a headline. We're not going to believe the news anchor that is saying the same thing that 10 other stations are saying because they get paid to say it, no matter what they believe. And I'll tell you something that happened in Alabama that should have been front page news in every outlet in this country, but it wasn't. Routine maintenance divers were working at the Converse Reservoir Dam in Mobile, Alabama. This is the reservoir that supplies drinking water to the city. So they found a bomb, a grenade type improvised explosive device at the bottom of the dam that supplies drinking water to an American city. What? They detonated it safely. No one was hurt. And the story got approximately 3 paragraphs of coverage before the news cycle moved on. So I say just sit with that for a second. An explosive device was placed at a drinking water supply dam in the United States. And your newsfeed is more interested in celebrity gossip and political theater, because that's what it is, political theater. So my question is, let's keep asking the questions. Who put it there? When was it placed? By who, for what purpose? Is this an isolated incident or part of a pattern of infrastructure targeting, or are they checking every other water supply in the country? Is that just a one and done, one off? We're not going to check it out? Because I don't see those answers anywhere. I looked more than once today. I've been looking. I just have the question, and the question is the thing that's not being asked loudly enough. Y'all, a prudent man sees danger and takes refuge, but the simple keep going and suffer for it. How come nobody's asking questions? I even looked up on TikTok the hashtag for Mobile Alabama to see if I could find anybody talking about it. Y'all wouldn't, that would have been devastating, right? Like that would not have been cool. See the danger, ask the questions. Don't wait for the news to tell you it matters, okay? And while we're talking about things that should enrage you but somehow don't, make the national conversation the way they should. Cook County, Illinois. Cook County Democrats ran a pretrial release program. Y'all, why is it Illinois? Why is it my blue states? Shame, shame. And I can't even be mad. I'm stuck in one right now. I am stuck. Cook County Democrats ran a pretrial release program for people that are charged with murder and sexual assault, a program specifically designed to keep violent criminal defendants out of jail while awaiting trial. 8% of them, 243 people, including murderers, attempted murderers, sexual assaulters, cut off their ankle monitors and disappeared. Is this the theme of the show here today? Is it like we know these government programs aren't over? I'm this literally, if you are just listening to this, I'm scratching my head. I am just scratching my head right now. They're gone. Nobody knows where they are. They're untraceable. And one of the people in the program had 72 prior arrests. 72. This person violated curfew, got on a Chicago train, and set a stranger on fire. I know you guys remember that. Okay. 243 violent criminals on the loose right now because someone decided that keeping them in jail before trial was too harsh. Do you guys know about this? Because I don't see anybody talking about that either. And the people making these policy decisions face no personal consequence, which is wild to me, right? I bartended off and on my whole life. And if I got someone intoxicated and they got in a wreck, I'm going to jail, right? I saw a headline, the guy who sold drugs to a grown ass man, one of the Friends guys, what was his name? I saw that guy when I'm looking at headlines today. He got prison time for selling drugs to a grown ass man, right? Some ketamine. He's going to jail. I'm just curious how these people that are releasing these criminals, when they reoffend, because they will, are they going to be put in jail? Everybody that freed these guys should be held accountable, but no personal consequence. And this is the greatest part. They don't live in the neighborhoods where these 243 people are, right? They're in the gated community. They don't shop at these stores or wait at the bus stops. They have a driver. They make the decisions and they go home to their pretty little security system. Boop 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 boop. The gated community, and they pat themselves on the back for being compassionate. What? This is failed progressive policy. It is not justice. And the people who suffer for it are always the people with the least power and the fewest options. The elderly woman taking the train, the family trying to run a small business, the working class neighborhood that nobody in that policy office will ever live in. Micah 6:8, he has told you, oh man, what is good and what does the Lord require of you, but to do justice and to love kindness and to walk humbly with your God. Do justice, not perform compassion. Do actual justice. And real justice involves protecting people from violent harm, holding wrongdoing accountable, and refusing to let ideology override reality. The 243 people who walked out of that program and the victims they may encounter, that is the cost of the ideology, of compassion, of pretending to be compassionate over actual justice. It blows my mind. And you know what's sad is I'm sure I'm going to have a lot of content because of those fellas that got let out. A lot of content because I'm going to be talking about the disaster they leave in their path. Clinton aid. I want to talk about this. How is it that these bodies just keep racking up? Clinton aid connected to Epstein was found shot and tied to a tree with an electrical cord. The ruling was I can't keep a straight face. You guys, I'm not laughing at the situation. I'm laughing because here we are again. I have to say the word suicide. The guy is shot. He is tied to a tree with an electrical cord. and they're saying it's a suicide. I don't know exactly what happened. I'm not going to fact check or confirm and stand behind saying I exactly do know. What I will tell you is that we have now arrived at a point where powerful people connected to powerful networks die under the same circumstances the rest of us would immediately recognize as suspicious, and the official determination every single time requires you to accept explanations that are physically implausible. They think we are so stupid. They don't even care anymore. Like they are laughing at us. They do not care. It's suicide. He's tied up. He's shot. It's suicide. Yes, that makes sense. You are not crazy for noticing things like this. And you are not a conspiracy theorist for asking how a person is both shot and tied to a tree rules in a self inflicted death. You are applying basic logic. And the pattern has a name. It does. I covered it in a previous episode, Nothing New Under the Sun. The names of the researchers, the scientists, you guys, the people who knew things and then stopped being alive. The FBI, the FBI is examining, checking out those cases, and this is one more data point in a pattern that official channels have reportedly asked you to ignore. Numbers, be sure your sin will find you out. You guys, it will. It always does. And I say it a lot to my husband. It may not be our timeline. And that's a hard thing to swallow, but it is the truth. And if you read the Bible enough, you do see the truth in that pattern and you can trust it. And I guess that's why I can have the faith. That's why I can say, "Hey, it's that timeline. I get it. It's God's time, not my time. I know justice will come on everybody." And so let's talk about Francis Boyle, what I know to be true. Francis Boyle was a professor of international law at the University of Illinois. He literally wrote the United States Biological Weapons Anti-Terrorism Act in 1989. He spent the last years of his life calling COVID-19 a bioweapon, calling the murder shots, and I am quoting, so here comes the red flags again. I'm quoting him directly, synthetic biological weapons of mass destruction. He submitted a signed affidavit to a Florida court stating that the COVID jabs meet the criteria of biological weapons. You guys want to know what happened to him? Unalived. He's not alive. On January 30th, 2025, he's 74. And I'll tell you something that I think that you guys deserve to hear because I operate with a standard on the show, right? The claim circulating that he died days before scheduled testimony, and this is really in a lot of things. I've seen it more than once. I looked. That does not have verified primary documentation to confirm that timeline. So I cannot confirm that, and it could be rage bait that it happened days before. His death actually happened January in 2025, and the articles making the timing claim appeared nearly a year later. So I can't verify that the testimony was scheduled for the date the article claimed. And here, you know, I can't state something I can't confirm, but I will tell you that's what happened. I could tell you this. The man who wrote the law that defines bioweapons, okay, he said it on record. He filed it in court. He named names, and the mainstream media, the same media that told you gain of function research was a conspiracy theory before it was confirmed, never gave him a platform. They never debated his claims seriously, never allowed the man who literally wrote the bioweapons law to make his case to the American people. Whether or not the timing of his death was suspicious, the silencing of his message during his lifetime is not in question. That's documented. That is real. So, my question is who benefits from you not knowing what the man who wrote the bioweapons law believed about what was put in your arm? It's crazy to me. Follow the money trail. That was a money grab. It was a money grab. We're all useful idiots. Money grab. Who benefits? That's the question, right? Who benefits? Let's talk about money. Honey, let's talk about your money. I had such a great guest on today, and we talked about money and we talked about the debt ratio in America. He actually works helping to free people from their debt. It was so great, such a great conversation. Um, but this is what's crazy to me because we're talking about, credit scores and how the system is kind of rigged. The system is rigged to be against you, and you're either going to let compound interest work for you or it's going to own you. Um, Listen, anyway, moving off topic. Let's talk about the absolute nerve it took to do what the Senate did this week. The United States Senate. I just like some of this. I'm like, is this a comedy show? Am I running a comedy show right now? I feel like it. I feel like this is all a big joke. It's such a joke. The United States Senate unanimously approved a resolution to withhold senators' salaries during government shutdowns. I am holding back the laugh. And the internet applauded. The internet is clapping, okay? And let's say I think that's BS. You guys understand. They're still getting their money. The proposal holds the salary and then releases it once the funding resumes. They don't lose a dime. It's a temporary delay. The federal worker who lives paycheck to paycheck and cannot get pay, he cannot get paid to pay his rent during a shutdown. That person does not get the delayed money back with the interest. You know that, right? But a United States senator making $174,000 a year will get every single cent of the delayed paycheck once the shutdown ends. Y'all, that is not a sacrifice. That is BS optics to try to win over the people. This makes me sick. And so many people are like, this is so great. Look what our senator's doing. What? Second, it takes effect after the next general election, meaning the people who voted for it are not the people it applies to immediately. So it's not even going to affect the people that are holding us up now. They voted to impose the rule on their successors while protecting their current situation. Right. You guys. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. I saw I think it's Grant Cardone. I follow him on X and I'm scrolling through today. He's got this image and I just want to talk about this too. It says 1775 the colonists went to war over a 2% tax. And it's got the guys in their battle gear. Then it's got people lined up on a couch, all on their cell phones and it says 2026 the average American pays 37% before you count sales tax, property tax, gas tax, Michigan. Thank you for adding another one, Gretch, and you're sitting there on your phones. Like, it's wild to me. The Pharaoh of Egypt taxed his slaves 20%. He did that. You can go to Genesis 47 and see that. Joseph literally implemented that system during the famine, and people considered it a mercy. We are being taxed at rates that would have caused armed revolution in 1775, and we're debating whether senators temporarily deferring their own salary is a meaningful accountability. It's not. Stop clapping for them. They don't get to take a bow for some credit that doesn't exist. Speaking of which, I really want to know when we decided that you need an ID for everything in this country except the one thing that decides who runs it. Can I give you the list? I'll just give you the list, right? What do you need a photo ID for? I get carded. Yes, I'm almost 50 and I know you guys. It's hard to believe because look at this face. How could she get carded? Yeah, I get carded to buy alcohol. I buy my husband's what is the stuff in the little can? Tobacco. I buy his tobacco. I get carded. Every time I bought a gun, you know the first thing they take from me before they even ask me my name? My ID. I've had to show my driver's license ID to get on an airplane. I have to have an ID to drive a car. When I've opened a bank account, I've had to have an ID. Um, Applied for a credit card, ID. Anytime I cash a check, ID. When I go travel and I stay in a hotel room, ID. Anytime I've ever rented a house, an apartment, renting a car off the plane, I needed an ID. When we bought our house, guess what we had to have there? An ID. Every time I've applied for a job, guess what they need? ID. It's the I-9 form. It's a federal law. To collect unemployment, you need an ID. To apply for food stamps, apply for Social Security benefits, apply for Medicare and Medicaid, get a prescription for a controlled substance, get married, adopt a child, go fishing, hunting license, apply for a professional license, enter a bar or a nightclub, enter most federal buildings, pick up a package at the post office, apply for FAFSA at college, get into a casino, buy certain cold medicines. I got carded for cold medicines. Pseudoephedrine. You need an ID for that. If you want to donate blood, you need an ID. Insurance, ID. Court, ID. Notarized documents, ID. Enroll in college, ID. And in some states, you have to show an ID to buy spray paint. You need an ID to donate blood, but in several states of this country, you do not need an ID to vote. I don't need to editorialize that. The list did the work for me. And I'll just say it clearly. I believe everyone who is a legal citizen of this country should be able to vote easily without obstacles. I also believe that the integrity of the vote, the thing that the government rests on, requires that the votes being cast belong to the people who are legally eligible to cast them. These are not competing ideas. They're both true simultaneously. And anyone who tells you that requiring an ID to vote is voter suppression while simultaneously requiring ID to buy Sudafed is not making a coherent argument. They're making a political one. It blows my mind. How is this still an issue with our government? How is that not something that everybody agrees on? Oh, that's right. That slush fund money, that politicians protecting politicians, career. It's exhausting. It's nauseating. Nauseating. Are you guys okay? Dude, something is these kids are wild in here right now tonight. I am telling you. Uh they're pretty pumped. It's late at night. Softball game was great. It was a blowout. My daughter got like she I just am so proud of her. The team did amazing tonight. Everybody was just on fire. Um Total blowout. And so they're very hyped up right now and I can hear it. I could really hear it. Um I want to tell you guys a story. It's a biblical story that I don't think most people in the church know, and I think you need to hear it now because I think it fits perfectly about where we are. I just came through it. If you guys are on my Bible study schedule, I have Bible study, or I have the schedule that I read a little every day for a year. I share that in a group I have. Um, Second Kings chapter 22. I want you to go read it. Go read it and then replay this portion of the episode. Okay, come back and listen to this and then go read it yourself. There was a king of Judah named Josiah. He became a king at 8 years old. 8, because his father was assassinated. We've seen that in the movies, right? By the time he was 26, he decided it was time to repair the temple of God, which had been neglected, which had fallen into disrepair. And the previous administrations, essentially, they just let it rot. Um, and so while they're cleaning out the temple, while the workers were going through the rubble and the dust of the sacred space that had been abandoned, the high priest Hilkiah found something. He found the book of the law, the actual word of God, the Torah, the foundational document of the entire covenant between God and his people. It had been hidden, whether deliberately buried by corrupt religious leaders who didn't want the people to know what was written or simply lost in the neglect and chaos of decades of unfaithful governance, it was gone. The people of God were living their lives, conducting religious rituals, going through the motions of worship without access to the actual truth of what God had said. This is before Jesus, okay? I just want, in case you guys are confused. When Josiah heard it read to him, when his secretary read him the words that had been buried, he tore his robes. That was the ancient gesture of grief, so so profound it couldn't be contained. And he said, "Great is the wrath of the Lord that is kindled against us, because our fathers have not obeyed the words of this book." He recognized immediately that the nation had been living in the dark, not because the truth didn't exist, but because it had been hidden from them. And this is what he did. He didn't form a committee. He didn't launch a study. He called an assembly of every person in Jerusalem, from the greatest to the least, the elders, the priests, the prophets, the people. He called all of them, and he stood on the temple and he read the whole thing out loud to every single one of them. Then he acted. He tore down every altar that wasn't supposed to be there. He removed every idol. He fired the corrupt priests who had been serving false gods. He eliminated the occult practices that had crept in hello woo space while the people weren't paying attention. He called Israel back to the Passover, the central remembrance of God's deliverance for the first time in generations. Scripture says that there is no Passover like that had been celebrated since the days of Judges. One king who found the truth that had been buried, who read it out loud to everyone, and then he acted on it systematically and completely. 2 Kings 23:25. Before him there was no king like him, who turned to the Lord with all his heart and with all his soul and with all his might, according to the law of Moses, nor did any like him arise after him. How does this match to the story of the JFK files being hidden, or MK Ultra documents being seized in the middle of declassification, or the gain of function research that existed for years while you were told it was a conspiracy theory? of a bioweapons expert who filed affidavits in court that mainstream media never covered, or government program that experimented on American citizens that most Americans have still never read the details of. You know, people still think it is a conspiracy, that it wasn't real. The book of the law was in the temple the whole time. It had just been buried, and it took someone willing to renovate the neglected space, to dig through the rubble, to read it out loud to the people, all the people, not just the ones who already knew. That's what it took to change everything. And I just want to say this to you right now, that the truth is in the building. It's here. But someone has to be willing to read it out loud. And I feel like I believe this, and I know a lot of people really see this as the truth. They tell us what they're doing in the movies. They always have. 1976, the Film Network gave you a news anchor who has a breakdown on live television and starts telling the truth. He says, "I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore." The movie predicted corporate takeover of media with accuracy that should have been impossible if it was just fiction. It wasn't fiction. It was someone telling you what was already happening. In 1988, They Live, Roddy Piper puts on a pair of sunglasses and suddenly he can see the hidden messages behind every advertisement, every billboard, every piece of media. It's still there. Obey, consume, no independent thought. The whole movie is about a small group of aliens who have infiltrated the elite class and are using media and economics to control the population. The people without the glasses can't see it, they just think everything is normal. 1997, Wag the Dog. I remember that movie. A political consultant and a Hollywood producer manufacture a fake war using footage filmed on a studio backlot to distract the American public from a presidential scandal. They release footage of a crisis that isn't happening. They control what people see. They shape public opinion through fabricated reality, made 23 years before deepfake was a household word. Contagion, 2011, a respiratory virus, you guys, originates in Asia, spreads globally, overwhelms hospitals, collapses supply chains, and creates social chaos. The film was used as a training reference by actual public health officials. It came out 9 years before COVID. And the screenwriter was consulting with the people who knew exactly what a pandemic response would look like. The movie was the rehearsal. I don't believe in coincidence. And this is what happens when the people who know the plan are also the people who fund the entertainment. When you're adjacent to power, when you sit in those rooms, you know what's being discussed. And sometimes the way it comes out is in a script, hidden in the open in the credits of a film that 100 million people watch without connecting the dots. They Live is literally a movie about a running class using hidden messaging in media to control a population that can't see it. 1988. It's the most accurate documentary of modern media that has ever been produced, and it's filed under science fiction. They're literally telling us. Genesis 3:1. Now the serpent was more crafty than any other beast of the field. Crafty. Crafty. Not violent, not obvious, crafty. The deception has always been the method. And crafty people sometimes put the plan in a movie because they don't believe you'll connect it to reality. I'm telling you, connect it to reality. I told you today was different, that we're not just going to marinate in outrage and call it awareness. Okay. So I want to tell you what we, the people, remind our government that they work for us actually looks like. Like, not the bumper sticker, but if we really could put together a strategy. Okay. This is what we have to do, you guys. This is so annoying. You have to know their names. Your United States representatives, your two US senators, your state representative, your state senator, your city township council member, your school board member, your county commissioner, and you're if you cannot name all of those people right now, you're not in the game. You're watching the game from outside the stadium. Those people are making decisions about your children. Those people are making decisions about your roads, about your taxes, about your curriculum, about your vote. So right now, today, probably this week, and you don't know their names, I'm saying learn their names. Second, I need you to show up in person. like at the city council meetings, at the school board meetings, at the county commissions meetings, at the township board meetings, because these happen monthly. They happen sometimes with 12 people in the room, and the decisions made in those rooms affect your daily life more directly than the most congressional votes. And they're made with no one watching. So I'm telling you to start watching. Then call their offices, not email, call. Constituent calls are tallied. Staffers keep track. When 100 calls come in on a single issue, a legislator moves on that issue in ways that 10,000 social media likes never will. Your call is more powerful than your like, so I'm saying make the call. And fourth, you have to vote in the primaries. The general election ratifies what the primary decided. The primary is where the real choice gets made, and it happens with the lowest turnout of any election cycle. So in a lot of districts, a few hundred votes in a primary decides who gets to go to the general. So I'm just saying show up. Just show up. Fifth, pull your support from institutions that do not serve you. Banks that funds things that you oppose, move your account. Schools that teach things that violate your values, pull your kids. Y'all, I homeschool. That's the answer. That's the answer. Media that lies to you, stop funding it. The economy is a vote you cast every single day with your money and your attention. So I'm saying cast it accordingly. Then build local food sourcing, local businesses, homeschool networks, local lending, faith communities. The less dependent you are on a centralized system, the more leverage you have over the systems. Dependency is the mechanism of control. And if you care about reducing that, then you want to go to Listen Bitch podcast, because I have the rebellion season on how to unplug from those systems, how to just separate yourself from the machine. More importantly, do not mistake online activism for civic participation. Sharing a post is not the same as showing up, okay? A viral tweet does not move a school board. Your present at a meeting moves a school board. Keyboard warriors who have 100,000 followers and never attended a city council meeting, they're performing, they're not participating. You are called to participate. When the righteous increase, the people rejoice, but when the wicked rule, the people groan. The answer to the groan is the righteous increasing, not watching, not scrolling, increasing, showing up, knowing the names, making the calls, being present in the rooms where the decisions get made. The government works for you, but you have to show up and start giving it that direction. And before I close today, I want to do one last thing here. Because I've handed you a lot today. I feel like I always do. A lot of things that are real, that are verifiable, that should make you angry, but should also move you to action. And I know some of you are doing the math on all of this and arriving at a place of despair. If this is all true, if the elite families operate without accountability, if the documents get seized, if the corrupt officials walk free, if the senators perform accountability and they don't actually practice it, then what? What's any of this for? And I want to answer honestly, okay, with what I believe. The Kentucky farmer who turned down $26 million to sell his land to an AI data center, you know what he said? If it's my way, I'll stay and hold and feed the nation. $26 million doesn't mean anything. That man, that's the answer. Not a hashtag, not a rally. A man who looked at an unimaginable sum of money and said, the thing I was called to do is worth more than what you're offering me to stop doing it. A man who understood that his land, his purpose, his stewardship of something real was not for sale at any price. That's what resistance looks like. That's the rebellion. Not angry, not reactive, but grounded and immovable. Clear about what you're protecting and why. Unwilling to be purchased. That's what politics have become. Everybody's bought and paid for. This is what I need you to hear about the story. $26 million is worth, like, I mean, that's the world trying to buy you away from the thing God called you to. Sometimes it's money. Sometimes it's comfort. Sometimes it's social acceptance. Sometimes it is just the exhaustion of fighting for things that feel too big to fight. Whatever your 26 million is, the price they're offering you to stop, to comply, to sit down, to go along, I need you to have an answer like this. It doesn't mean anything, not compared to what I was put here to do. Revelation 3:11, hold fast what you have so that no one may seize your crown. Hold fast. In the face of pressure, the manipulation, the manufactured reality, the synthetic consensus, the Klaus Schwabs of the world telling you everything is going to be transparent, you better get used to it. Hold fast. And I want to say one more thing, because every single thing of this episode show comes back to this, and we'll always come back to this as long as I'm the one talking. All of these things we talked about today, with the corruption, the hidden files, the elite families, the elections, the bombed water supply. Violent criminals running loose. All of this points to the same underlying reality. We live in a world where power was used to exploit the powerless, where truth is hidden from the people it belongs to, where systems designed to protect us are often the systems most actively failing us. In the middle of it all, 2,000 years ago, there was a man who walked directly into the most corrupt, most controlled, most entrenched power structure in the ancient world had ever produced, and he didn't work within the system. He didn't file the right paperwork. He didn't run for office. He turned over the tables in the temple. He told the truth to the people the system had discarded. He named the corruption in the people who claimed it to be holy, and they killed him for it. And he came back. That is the God we serve. Not distant, not indifferent, present in the middle of the corruption, looking it in the eye and winning. If you have ever given a thought to this, and if you have never given your life to him, if you've been maybe circling it, if something in these conversations is reaching something in you that you can't really put a finger on, I'm just going to ask you today to stop running from it. Not because the world is scary. It is, but this isn't about fear. I want you to consider this because of the love that comes after, because you were made for something more than a fear cycle, more than the outrage loop, more than the scrolling through evidence of corruption and feeling powerless. You were made to know the one who holds all of it in his hands and has already written the ending. For I am sure that neither death nor life, nor angels, nor rulers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor powers, nor height, nor depth, nor anything else in all of creation will be able to separate us from the love of God in Christ Jesus our Lord. Not the rulers, not the powers, not the WEF, not the CIA, not the ones that didn't get elected. Nothing in all of creation can separate you from that love. Not if you want it. And if you want it, you just have to say so. Like out loud or in your heart right now. Just tell him that you're done navigating this alone. Tell him that you want the truth and ask him in. He will meet you there. He always does. He always does. I'll I will listen. I know it is a lot. I know it is a lot in the middle of all of this. Like that love means something, and that's why I can keep coming on this show and I can talk about this stuff. The stuff that I could talk about today. The White House staffer on camera talking about a sitting president needs to be gotten rid of. And it's like they don't understand. People are trying and people think it's okay now. Like we're just making it okay. The deep state is not theoretical, it has a face and a badge and a budget. The CIA, Klaus Schwab telling you privacy is for people with something to hide. China had a planted mayor in California. She will not be the last. The bomb in the water, hundreds of violent criminals running around Cook County, Francis Boyle telling the truth and on a live to back it up, senators pretending they care about the people and they're making a sacrifice for you, IDs, all of these things. You, specifically you, this is the starting point. This is where we, the people, begin. It's not online. It's for us to be in this room, for you to stand up and take the action, to ask the right questions, and to stop just following people blindly on social media. Faith, fire, God, country, in that order, always. I will see you guys next week.